right, well, let's get started. I want to go ahead and introduce you to your co-host for this lesson. Well, first of all, that's myself. My name is Ricky Bradley. I'm IT Director with Citizens Climate Lobby and the North Dallas, Texas Group Leader. And that's Adeline. Adeline, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Adeline. I work at headquarters on Coronado Island in San Diego, and I started as assistant to the president. I'm also special project manager now.
Fantastic. And this is your first time hosting or co-hosting.
Woo!
All right. And Brett.
Howdy, everyone. This is Brett Cease on the line here, actually in DC at Policy Boot Camp. We're having a great first run of it. And I'm the regional coordinator for the Third Coast and also transitioning into supporting more of what CCU support that Ricky's doing as the Director of Volunteer Education. So we're glad everyone's on the phone tonight.
You know, and we're not doing much to dispel the rumor tonight that to be an instructor at CCL, you had to have blonde hair. I mean, we're really blowing that out of the water tonight. Sorry about that. You got three dumb blondes tonight. Sorry about that.
All right. Apologies.
Yeah, we're really seriously. All right, so let's go ahead. There we go. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to cover tonight. So with our agenda tonight, we're going to go through the logistics of the conference. We're going to do that sort of in chronological order. So we'll start off with the pre-conference materials you should have received today and what you'll receive at the conference. And then we'll proceed to the conference agenda and schedule. We'll go over some details about the hotel and transportation. And then before we wrap it up, we're going to talk about how to submit your meeting minutes and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and kick things off. I'm going to turn it over to Adeline.
Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about what you probably already have or should be receiving in your inboxes by later today or tonight. So in order to plan and prepare ahead of this year's conference, your personal lobby schedule, along with the bios for each member of Congress you're scheduled to meet with, and the meeting plans, if there are any, that were developed by the liaison or local chapter were emailed to you today. So you should print these out, bring the schedule, bios, and meeting plans with you. If you leave home before you get the email, there is a business center here at the Omni where you can log in with your email and print out the materials. So if you haven't already left, please remember to bring it with you. When you get your email by sometime today, later tonight, Thursday, June 8th, star it or mark it as important and save it and print it out. If you haven't gotten it, you can check your spam folder if it's not in your inbox. And if you can, take photos of your schedule and bios with your phone. That way, if you lose either while you're on the Hill, you'll have an electronic copy. And if you're a meeting lead, here's one important thing you should do when you first receive your schedule is go to the website of that member of Congress to verify the building and room number in case it's changed. And if there has been a change, make sure you let the other members of your meetings know the new location. So now Brett is going to discuss the all-important lobby schedule.
Hey, before we move on to Brett, I just want to apologize to everyone. It looks like I forgot to take the transitions out of the presentation, so you'll notice that it's going to skip a little bit. I apologize for that ahead of time, but just notice that it'll skip ahead. I'll try to get right back to the slide. Sorry about that little inconvenience there. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Ricky, for driving us here. So the big thing, like the Beatles like to remind us, all you need is love. And for your schedule, that applies just as much as it did 50 years ago with the Sgt. Pepper's album's anniversary. So it's not going to be perfect, but it will reflect constituents and liaisons being placed in meetings as a priority. And that's really kind of one of the main algorithms that went into sorting the schedule. Specifically on that, expect about 3 lobby meetings and about 5 to 6 CCLers in each meeting. And really make sure to do the job of welcoming any non-constituents into your district or state meetings. And for those of you who are placed outside of your state or your district, please honor and make sure to follow the meeting leader's facilitation. They know what they're doing. They've put months into preparing this, and meeting plans are based on that experience and knowledge of the local chapter, as we all know. You might ask, based on that, why do we have some mixed meeting teams and include up to 5 or 6 volunteers? And, one Senate office recently asked, to only have 2 constituents attend, and that certainly was a reasonable request. Here is why we have asked for more people to attend, though. And that's because we have 950 volunteers plus this year who are coming to DC to learn and in part to lobby. And often there are too few constituents for one district and too many from others. So we try to even it out. Sometimes other CCLers who aren't constituents may have more knowledge or special expertise or experience that they can bring to that meeting. and we work together as a team, right? And the other thing is that some of our citizen lobbyists would love other experienced CCLers around them, especially if they're up and coming and might just be for DC and leading a meeting for the first time. DC can certainly be a little intimidating the first time you've attended your meeting. So this all might kind of sound selfish, but we want to have all the folks coming to the conference get into several meetings so they get that infectious democracy bug. Everyone on the call tonight knows what I mean. This is sorely needed right now in our culture and our time. And this is how we grow the grassroots and get people to feel like they can get engaged in solution making. So let's just even show a quick example of what demonstrates that. Here's back in 2010. We had 27 volunteers and 52 congressional meetings. We had all meetings where there were no, and we had lots of meetings where there were no constituents at all. And zooming ahead, here's a 2016 photo. By offering volunteers several lobby meetings, they caught the democracy bug with over 500 lobby meetings, and now we have 950 plus people lobbying. So what I'm going to do next is transition to looking quickly at what a sample schedule might be for the lobby day. I'm guessing all of you on the call have seen this in your inbox. If not, make sure to reach out to us afterwards, but you can check your spam again in case not. But here's kind of what the actual scheduled sample looks like, and we can walk through it together. Please notice that there's a meeting ID, an MOC, or Member of Congress name, state and district, time and location, staff and meeting, liaison and appointment setter, and note that the CCL attendees who are listed are on the meeting, as well as their contact information and the times of their other meetings. And this helps if, meeting time can get unexpectedly changed, and especially making sure to keep everyone in the loop about those updates. A few meetings do not get set until very late in the schedule, and that might be you, since some offices literally request to wait for congressional committee schedules to come out, or offices can set the meeting only a week ahead. That might just be the culture within that particular office. And in that case, we may be able to squeeze that meeting still into our master schedule. But if that's the case, it also means that it's labeled as to be determined, that yellow highlight up there in the upper left. So we're going to create a CCL team still for that meeting, and this will show up as a TBD meeting, and the liaison or the appointment setter is still working to contact that meeting team leader and the entire team with the active news of what they're doing to really finalize any times and changes to the location. And I think related to that, it's really important to talk about schedule changes real quick. So late additions or changes may have a domino effect to your schedule. Say you didn't get exactly what you wanted. Sometimes, a meeting even gets changed by the congressional office the morning of, or, several days in advance. And given the potential for a real challenge with domino effects, we're going to ask that you make sure to not make any changes unless absolutely, with an underscore, necessary. If there's any clear data entry or a volunteer is ill, something like that, definitely let Amy and us know. But your team really expects you to be there in the meetings that are listed in your schedule. The CCL meeting leader is the person responsible for, really approving any meeting changes. And if the congressional office needs to change the meeting time, that CCL meeting lead is the person that's going to make that change and then let everyone else know. They're the ones responsible for confirming attendees and changes for the meeting. So always contact meeting leads before requesting changes. That's the big kind of takeaway. If you think you need to change your schedule, first check in with the meeting lead and ask, and then they need to confer with anyone else and make sure that it's okay to bow out. And without communications, you're going to probably leave the team high and dry. So since teamwork is our middle name, we want to make sure that we're being on top of that. The last thing I'll say is also that passing on, kind of using the whiteboards as a resource is important. And it's kind of like speed dating, we like to say, for meeting changes, right? They're going to be located on the outside of the main entrance to the plenary speaking room. So right as you enter that main ballroom, you can look for any updates there. And that'll be essentially whiteboards for both meeting updates, changes, and rescheduled meetings. One of them is going to have all of those where meeting attendees are needed. So it's listing kind of those that are still looking for free agents, if you will. And the other one is where you can list yourself as a free agent and kind of play speed dating by trying to coordinate between those two. So if you are really a go-getter and 3 isn't enough, feel free to put your name on that second board, and we'll make sure to try to pair you up. And those whiteboards are going to be up and accessible until Monday at 5. And we'll also have them up again at the Tuesday reception for any cancellations, to make sure to communicate those that might be rescheduled later on for Wednesday, but that's a rare occasion. And if you need it past Monday night, one thing that I always recommend is to take a photo of it, right? So let's kind of, I'll pass it to you, Ricky. We're going to stop for questions in a moment, but Ricky's going to say a few words about biographies.
Thanks, Brett. So let's talk about the CCL congressional biographies and what you can expect from those. So in your with your emails that you received today with your schedule and your meeting plans, you should have also received the CCL congressional bio for the members of Congress that you're meeting with. And so here's an example of Senator Ben Cardin's bio, and let's just talk just a little bit about what's on the biographies. Really, it's two main things are on the biographies. There's biographical data, go figure, right? So this is stuff like when were they elected, when's their next election, a percentage of vote in the last election, which is really important. You know, if someone has 52 or 53%, you know, obviously they live in a district that's a little more in play, so to speak, right? They might be willing to do more or consider more bipartisan efforts. It also shows like their schools attended, their background, their career interests, their religion even, which is sometimes a touchy subject to talk about. But also, this is really important, all this information, because it's really what helps you develop that relationship piece, right? If you've gone to school, the same school as somebody, hey, bring that up, right? You're the alums of the same place. Next, what you'll see on the congressional biographies would be the congressional record. And then this section is going to be mostly like what have they done since they've been in Congress, right? What are their votes on relevant bills, their committee assignments, in some cases where it's relevant to what we're doing, their caucus assignments as well. So it's this combination of all this information plus the previous meeting minutes and everything that you look at that really helps you understand how this member of Congress arrives at his or her decision. So it's very important information. It's information that you use to plan, but also, you know, in the middle of a meeting, you might remember something you read off the biography, like where they went to school or something. You can toss that out there. They love that, right? They love it when you're prepared and it looks like you've done your research. Next up, next thing we'll talk about are the meeting plans. And so over the past couple of weeks, or maybe the past month, some local CCL groups and liaisons from all across the country have been putting together meeting plans for their members of Congress. So they've looked at previous meeting minutes, they figured out where they are, what their supporting asks have been in the past, and they're trying to come up with ways to move their relationship forward. So if you're a constituent coming in from out of state, like if I was going to a California meeting and I know nothing about the member of Congress, this meeting plan would be just gold in my hand. I mean, it would really set the expectation for me of what to expect in that meeting and what they're trying to get out of this member of Congress. And so that's really the idea behind the meeting plans, is that we put a lot of time and effort into thinking about, you know, what are the challenges and what are some of the questions and how can we proceed with this member of Congress. So Adeline's going to talk to you next here about the all-important stuff like, what do you do when you get to the hotel? How do you find the conference and where will people be? So Adeline, if you'll walk us through those logistics.
Yeah, were we going to stop for questions really quick, or do you want me just to go on ahead?
Yeah, go ahead here. We'll stop in just a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you're coming in early on Saturday, we're going to be broadcasting the monthly call from the Hampton Room at 12:30. So Hampton Room 12:30. And also on Saturday, there will be lobby team meeting preparation space. That'll be available in the Council, Senate, and Cabinet rooms. And those are on your own, first come, first serve, beginning at 9 a.m. through 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Saturday night, there will also be a film screening of Catching the Sun at 7 p.m. in the Regency Ballroom. And registration begins Saturday at 5 p.m. and it begins again 8 a.m. on Sunday. And we welcome on-site registration on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday for latecomers, and we'll accept credit card or check payments, but no cash. And so next I'm going to show you where we're going to be located at the Omni. All right, so here's a map of the lobby level of the Omni Shoreham, and at the bottom in the middle is the main entrance. So this is where you'll enter and exit the hotel during breaks for lunch and dinner. But when you arrive for the conference, enter the lobby, and you're going to turn right towards the west elevators, and you'll continue until you see the west registration desk, which is just right around the elevators. There will be signs all over the place leading you, and at the west registration desk, you'll register and you'll get your name tag. And then the main ballroom, the Regency, is located downstairs in the big hallway, and we'll have several tables set up for you to get your program and conference folders, and we'll have a couple of other things to hand out there as well. So Amy, Livy, and the whiteboard that we talked about just a couple minutes ago will be stationed downstairs in the Regency Gallery for help with your scheduling questions. All right, so inside your folder, you're going to fit all your conference materials. So this includes your program, meeting minutes form, 3 copies of the asks, which are identical for both the House and the Senate, a fundraising booklet, and all of the handouts for Sunday night's training. The conference program booklet will also have the entire schedule for all of the conference events. So Brett, I think Brett's going to talk about the constituent letter drop-off next.
Yeah, and we'll stop after this. We promise this time. So something new this year is a table that's going to be right next to that table that Amy and Livy are going to be at, right next at the downstairs Regency Gallery. And it's going to be called the Constituent Letter Drop-Off and Pickup Table. And the big thing that we want to let everyone know is that it's going to be staffed and it's going to be open. We actually even extended the hours just now so that they're going to be open from 11:30 to 5:30 on Sunday for drop-offs, and then again on Monday from 10:30 to 5:30 for pickups. And the whole point of this table this year has been requested that there's a spot for people that have been tabling at Earth Day events and collected out-state letters to make sure that they have a way to get them efficiently to whichever other congressional district might be meeting with their member of Congress. So if you at this point might still be holding on to some of those from any time this year, now's a good time to bring them to DC. Or if you're not going, or if you know of anyone else that's still holding on to them and you are going, make sure to beat the bushes and bring those and drop them off at this table. Sunday specifically, again, is just for drop-offs, so we're trying to get all of those in by Sunday afternoon. Monday is going to be for the meeting leads. If you're a meeting lead listening into this call, please make sure to stop by this drop-off table for you to pick up constituent letters. We're not going to be serving to copy extra copies for senators. We want to make sure that any letters that are there have already been field reported. And we're also going to run a service where if you aren't stopping by, we'll make sure to text you a little reminder. But that's all I have to say on that for now. Just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of it.
Great, thanks, Brett. So let's go ahead and let's do stop here, as we've promised, for some questions, and stop and check for some understanding from folks. So we got some more stuff, some more material to cover here in just a few moments, but why don't we go ahead and stop here for a moment, and since we've covered so much information, and check to see what kind of questions are out there. So if you want to press *6 on your phone, if you're on your phone, to unmute, or click the microphone icon, and tell us your name and where you're joining from before you ask your question.
Jean Christensen.
Hey, Jean, go ahead.
Okay, from Louisville, Kentucky. It turns out that a constituent in Brett Guthrie's, that is Kentucky 2nd District, is not able to come. I noticed that he, in the material I received today, I noticed that he is scheduled for several meetings. I've asked the person in Bowling Green to contact Amy or what's the other person, to tell them that he's not coming. It could be that he could be there on the phone, but he won't be there in person. So what do we do about that?
Well, I think you've done what you should do. If you notice that there's somebody on a team that you're meeting with and you're the lead, you know that they're not coming, you absolutely would let your regional coordinator or let Amy or Livy know. Someone you'll let someone know, right? Run it up the flagpole so that they know, so that the leaders of those meetings understand that person is not going to be there. So I think you've. Okay,
Ashley or Amy, or both?
Not Ashley. I would, Brett, would you agree? I would tell you let your regional coordinator know.
Yep, I think that's the best chain of command.
Yeah.
Oh, regional, like Donna Do?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That would be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Ricky, I see somebody's asking about parking and somebody's asking about meeting plans located.
All right. So let's talk about, let's see. The first thing is, where do I find the meeting plan? So Susie, if there was a meeting plan developed, and that's a great question because not every team has had an opportunity to do that. But if there has been a meeting plan developed, it would have been emailed to you today with the instruction, or excuse me, with the bios and the schedule. So what I would do, Susie, is reach out to them and maybe ask them, hey, because I'll mea culpa here. I'm a lead for a meeting, my member of Congress, and I haven't developed the plan fully yet. So I'm going to take it with me and send it out to the folks. So maybe that's the case there as well, Susie. So I suggest reaching out to the meeting lead and asking if there is a meeting plan. All right. Kathy asks, I see that there's a training meeting on Sunday morning and one on Sunday night. Are we expected at both? You know what? That's a great. So, Kathy, I tell you, we're going to go into the schedule here in just a second. We'll take a look at that. But the training sessions in the morning, or the training session in Sunday evening, and Brett and Adeline, please feel free to jump in here. That's more geared towards getting ready to lobby the next day. And talking about maybe our specific supporting asks and things you can do in a lobby meeting, whereas the Sunday morning stuff, and I'm not looking at my schedule right now, maybe Brett and Adeline can be doing that. The Sunday morning stuff is mostly skills based, or if you're new, a group start workshop or a climate advocate training. So we've tried to put in sessions that are, we feel would benefit people at all levels of their advocacy, whether they're brand new to CCL, whether they've been around for a while, the group leaders and liaisons, they have their own session, or whether you're just trying to build your skills. And there's some skills workshop. Brett, Adeline, do you guys have anything you want to add to that, or did I cover that right?
Yeah, you covered that exactly right. So yeah, in the morning it's skill building, and then in the evening I believe it's Stephanie and Danny are going over bills and specific asks and lobbying.
So I want you both to address this question. Great question from Bob. Bob asked, I've been scheduled for a meeting at 1 o'clock in Rayburn and another at 2 in the Capitol building. I'm not sure where exactly that is in the Capitol, but is it realistic to get between two meetings in time?
I can cover that because I'll be doing it at the conference also. So if one is on the House side and one's on the Senate, yes, that is, you're gonna have to either walk really quickly, but what you can do is there are underground tunnels between the House side and the Senate side, and as visitors we don't have access to them. But before your first meeting at 1, you can ask permission if someone in that office would be able to escort you to your next meeting. And I've done that before. One time my group was wearing a boot, and so she couldn't get around very quickly, and they escorted us every single time underneath the tunnels. So there's a good chance they'll say yes. You can't completely depend on that, but I would definitely in your first meeting, if you have a quick jump between the two, ask before if someone can escort you.
Brett, do you think you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that's ingenious, and if you don't have the temerity to take the Batcave approach, you can just let the second meeting know that you're going to be potentially running late, and like we said in the prior trainings here, if you let them know ahead of time and you do your best and you can't make it, don't feel any pressure if it just doesn't look like it's going to be close. And the key thing is to be present in that initial meeting. So if it's going long and it's natural, I wouldn't try to refuse yourself to try to run over too.
Yeah. And another thing you could do, Bob, is you could recuse yourself from the debrief session of that first meeting. Say, hey guys, I don't really have time to debrief. I need to get to my next meeting, and let the other folks maybe debrief, and they'll catch up with you later on that. But a lot of meetings most meetings last 30 to 45 minutes, and 45 is pretty long actually for most meetings. So I think you'll have time. It might be a stretch, but we have faith. We know you can do that. SoCal, are you including thank you cards in the packets? I don't believe so. I believe that everyone is responsible for bringing their own thank you cards, but good question, Craig. Susie says, what if I am the meeting lead? And that's referring back to her question earlier about there's no meeting plan. Then I would talk to the liaison to see, okay, is there a meeting?
And she's also saying there's no liaison.
Okay.
So this is an incredibly rare situation.
Yeah. So if there is no liaison for that group in chat, there's probably no meeting plan. So what you'll need to do then, Susie, is if you're the lead, is to get, like we talked about last week in our lobby lead training, You'll need to try to schedule a meeting with everyone, get everyone together, decide on, what your ask is going to be for that office. But really, and we've said this a lot, that your job at that point is really to be more of like a policy consultant, right? So you realize, and don't try to play it off like you're a constituent or anyone in there is a constituent, but you have a piece of legislation that you feel one day is going to be introduced, and it is going to impact their district, whether or not you're a constituent of them or not. And you want to say, look, I'm here to serve as a resource. We know we're not constituents, but we think this is important enough to discuss with the office. And we hope to have constituents in your district one day. So, there's lots of ways you can go about it, but there's probably not a meeting plan. You're right, for that meeting. Let's see. I live in the area. Is there parking at the hotel? I'm sure there is.
I think there's parking, but it's definitely not free.
Yeah, it's definitely not free, and it's probably not affordable. As you know, if you live in DC, things are.
I would just contact the Omni's front desk and see what they recommend.
Yeah. Edith asks, how many copies of the constituent letters should we bring? I read something that said 3 copies. Brett, do you want to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so basically the 3 copies are the 2 Senate offices for that member of Congress and then the actual House side. So if you can make copies ahead of time, feel free to do that, and we'll make sure to deliver one to each of those offices. But if you don't have access to a printer, or if it's just too technical, feel free just to bring the original, and that should work just fine as well. And regardless, we just ask that you want to make sure to field report that before you actually hand it off, because that way we're making it tracked in our system, and we're making sure to capture all the letters that we're gathering.
Okay, a couple more questions before we get back to the script here in the lesson. Mike W. asks, can I watch a video of the Sunday evening training meeting on Monday? And I'll tell you, probably not. No, we just do not have that quick of a turnaround on anything like that. It'll be live streamed, but it's just not in our service level agreement with our production company to have it turned around that quickly. So apologize, but it will also be live streamed, so you can hopefully, if you can't make it to the hotel, you can watch it. Let's see.
I think we'll just take Tom's question and then move on, maybe, Ricky. It's will late registrants have an opportunity to attend lobby meetings?
Great question. Adeline, Brett, do you guys want to take that?
I'll be happy to go first. I'll just say that at this point, unfortunately, given how booked and how coordinated all the rest of the meetings are, that's not going to be something that's possible to coordinate for this year, but we've encouraged them to still be active and involved with their chapter and let them even know about any suggestions they might have about what they'd like to have in the meeting. But unfortunately, I would steer them towards the November Congressional Education Day for the next opportunity to lobby.
And I guess they could put their names on the whiteboard and maybe get into a meeting. But yeah, we're not able to coordinate it at this late of a time, Tom.
Great solution. Yep, the whiteboard's there just for that situation.
Yeah, it may work out. Let's see. And Susie, just getting started in Alabama. Okay, so Susie, I'm from Alabama too, so I got you. Now I understand. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue getting started here. And then Larry, I see you have a situation that you chatted me to as well. I would say reach out to Brett with that situation since he is your regional coordinator. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. And Adeline, you're going to demonstrate or talk about where we can find some certain things. And I'm going to just stop sharing, and I'll share that on my screen so people can see what we're talking about. Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me launch my web browser. Here we go. Give me 1 sec, and I'll share again. All right. Boom. Can you see my screen, Adeline?
It says you started. Oh, yes. Okay, now I can. All right, so I'm going to be sharing some things about the schedule. So this is where you can find it. So you're going to go to the CCL homepage as Ricky's done, and you're going to select 2017 conference up in that top menu. And once that page loads, you're going to click the schedule link. So you're going to scroll down a little bit to find the schedule link. And this schedule is also going to be in your program that you pick up when you register, and it's in the app, the Grenadine app.
You're talking too fast. You got to hang on.
Sorry, slow down with your scrolling.
When you're, especially when you're on a video conference, it takes a long time to load. But okay.
Okay. So now that it's loaded, so we've got the schedule here, and this is where you can find all the events. So first, we're going to start with Sunday. If you've not been to a Group Start workshop, then you need to attend the Climate Advocate training. This is the most important training that we do at CCL. The Climate Advocate training, which is going to be led by CCL Director of Field Development, Ellie Sparks, as well as Brett, who's on tonight's call. And that's Sunday, June 11th at 10:15 a.m. And this workshop is going to educate you on the structure, methodology, and skills to become effective communicators and advocates for national policies to address climate change. And if you have already completed the Climate Advocate training and you'd like to expand your skills within our 5 levers, multiple taking action workshops will be offered. So these are 35-minute workshops offered at 10:15, 11:05, and 11:55. So you'll have the opportunity to end up to 3 skills workshops. So this is, again, is what we're talking about, the training Sunday morning versus the training Sunday night. So in your program and the conference app, Grenadine, the Monday breakout sessions we listed by time and will include the topic, presenters, and location of each session. So I'll wait while Ricky gets to that.
Yeah, sorry about that. So that's Sunday.
It's kind of complicated because there's so many breakout sessions, which is great.
Yeah.
To pick from.
And I think the important thing that you talked about there, Adeline, again, Sunday being that in the morning, for those folks who are CCL veterans, there are all kinds of skills workshops, and then there's the climate advocate training for people who are new to CCL as well. So okay, I'm now on Monday. We're going to skip forward to Monday afternoon, which is when all the real major breakouts start. Yeah.
Yep. So that Monday afternoon is when all the big breakout starts, and lunch is going to be on your own from 12:30 to 2 p.m. And you're going to want to be sure to be back in time for 2 p.m. for the National Planning Plenary, and regional breakouts after the plenary will be held from 3:30 to 5. So you'll see in the program booklet, I don't believe it's online yet, for where each region's breakout will be held. And dinner is on your own from 5 to 7 p.m. and we'll have our Sunday keynote speaker, followed by the advanced climate communications and lobby training. So that was back to Monday again.
Yeah.
All right, so now Ricky's going to talk about where the breakout rooms are located.
Yeah, let's get off this ugly thing here. Let me share the presentation again. Let's do that. All right, so the breakout rooms. Where do you find the breakout rooms? Where is everything going to be located when you get there? So the good news is that some of this stuff is like right on the same level as the main Regency ballroom, right? So this, if you look on the slide right here, this big area on your bottom right-hand corner, that's the Regency Ballroom. That's where everything happens, like all the big breakout, or the big main sessions, right? And the long hallway right in front of it, that's the Regency Gallery where Amy's going to be set up. We're going to have all kinds of tables and stuff, all kinds of action will be happening. Well, there are a couple of breakout rooms on this level, right? One is right across. It's the Ambassador. You can see it's got the X on it. And the other one is the one on the top left of your screen, the Empire Room. And in between those, you'll see that there are a set of stairs, right? Set of stairs there. And if you go up those stairs, you'll go to the next slide. And this is the main floor of the Omni Showroom. And here's where you're going to find most of the breakout rooms. And you'll see that most of them are right there as you come up the stairs, the west elevators on the right-hand side of the slide. And you'll see most of the breakout rooms are going to be over there in that section. So you'll be able to find things pretty easy. Again, there's going to be all kinds of signs this year, lots of signage to help you find your way. And Adeline, you want to tell us now, to talk a little bit about how we're going to get over to Capitol Hill from the hotel.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so it's a 4-minute walk from the hotel to the metro station, and it's going to be the Red Line. So when you exit the hotel out of that main lobby, you're going to walk up 24th Street Northwest to get to the Woodley Park station. So once you're in, you're going to take, I believe it's towards Silver Spring. Actually, you shouldn't quote me on that. But you're going to take the Red Line, and you're going to exit after 6 stops at Union Station. And you're walk through the park to Capitol Hill. And this is where we'll be gathering Tuesday morning for a group photo, and where you see the X right there. So that's on the side of the Capitol facing the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress. And we're going to meet at the steps closer to Union Station. And please be on time. There's so many of us, we're taking the photo promptly at 8:15, so try to be there by 8 at the latest. And one final note from me, and this is really important, is that you need to buy a Metro card, and you probably shouldn't wait until Tuesday morning because you don't know how long the lines are going to be. So yeah, so buy a Metro card, put $9 on it, and that'll be enough to get you from the Omni to Capitol Hill and back. And you can purchase those ahead of time at the station's kiosk down at Woodley Park Station.
Thanks, Adeline. So, promise we're almost finished. I'm just going to walk and talk about what you're going to do with your meeting minutes or notes from your lobby meetings at the very end of Tuesday. So, this is an absolutely critical role, and meeting minutes document really the heart and blood of our actual kind of member DNA, right? We have concerns and questions that members of Congress and their staff have. It's really critical that they make sure to get back to our central headquarters where we can process and learn from all the feedback. So it documents that level of support and allows detailed analysis of where Congress stands. It shows how our support is growing. And the form also has tips on how to do this on the backside. So the CCL meeting leader confirms who can commit to this important role and can the minute taker do the following. Write legible notes on a pad with a firm surface. Make sure that they're legible. Make sure that the meeting minute assigned can do that. Focus on what the member of Congress or the congressional staffer say, not so much what we say. Now, once you've entered full names, here's a little pro tip. Only use initials from that point on. You don't have to write out anyone's name after that, and it can go a lot quicker. Review those notes to fill in blanks, and then confirm accuracy right after the meeting in the hall. So you can do that with the post-lobby meeting review, and don't leave the group until this gets done. Get the consensus on the level for what the support for carbon fee and dividend and their climate position are, and make sure that everyone kind of really talks through whatever they'd have to say so that those notes can express everyone's impression of the meeting. Then what's going to happen is that note taker is going to rewrite notes on the form and make sure to press down hard. This is still a carbon copy form, so we're using antiquated technology, and yes, it is carbon copy. The irony is not lost on us. Submit online then that same day when you type them up. So we're going to have a physical copy and we're going to have a digital copy. And I suggest typing them into a Word document and then cutting and paste them so that you can keep a copy too, and wait for that screen that says you have successfully submitted notes, and make sure that that actually went through. So you want to make sure that you're including all the meeting participants in the actual text box online, and the staffer names and titles of anyone else that was there present to the meeting.
Really?
And also emphasize
excited.
who are constituents. I think we got somebody unmuted there, no problem. And then lastly, you want to give that top copy of the form to the designated staff member or drop into the minutes box at the reception Tuesday at the Omni. We've actually got a fun update this year, another little update that we're trying to do to make your life easier. And that is that you can save the yellow copy to submit online, but this year, volunteers that want to get those meeting minutes off their mitts earlier than the evening reception can drop them off if they're completed earlier. In the morning, Dr. Danny Richter will be on the Senate side in that cafeteria. It's going to be between the Dirksen and the Hart building in the basement level. And then right around 1 o'clock or so after lunch, he'll be transitioning to the House side and will be available in the Rayburn cafeteria for the afternoon to collect those meeting minutes as well. So you can give them live time during the day, or you can still bring them back to the Omni at the reception. Meeting leaders are going to also be responsible for making a separate record of the meeting taker's name. And if we can't track down the minutes, you know who we're coming for. So make sure that you have that, so then we call the lead to find out who the actual minute taker is. You can tell us and refer us to the right person. Special note, this is just kind of one last little tease. No vacations to the Bahamas or Europe for minute takers are appropriate until the minute meetings are submitted. So we're happy to go on vacation in your place. I'll kick it back to you, Ricky.
All right, thanks, Brett. So last thing to talk about here is, yes, there's an app for that. And so for those of you who use smartphones and like the technology and maybe want to have everything at your hand, we have an app for the conference. You can go to the App Store or on Google Play Store, I'm sorry. Search for Grenadine Event Guide, and this will be in your conference as well, and we'll have instructions at the conference as well. But for right now, you can still go into the App Store or the Google Play Store, search for Grenadine Event Guide, install the app, and when it opens up, it's going to ask you for a conference code, and you're going to type in CCL 2017. If you type in 2016, you're going to have all the information from last year, so don't do that. Make sure you put in 2017. And also, there will be Wi-Fi at the Omni showroom. You can see that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now. The password for that will be CCL DC 2017. And there'll be instructions on this at the hotel as well. And then a lot of us, when we're on Capitol Hill as well, we realized we want to use some Wi-Fi there too. And there's the Senate Wi-Fi, and you can see there's a house Wi-Fi as well. And so you can, I'll leave those up on the screen for a while if anybody wants to jot those down to keep up with it. But, I'll tell you, internet service on Capitol Hill, Wi-Fi or otherwise, is just not good. I don't know what it is, but it's really not that good. So I wouldn't count on it. I think, honestly, your cell phone service is probably better. And I guess that's good. Government's being stingy with their money, right? All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for being on the call tonight. We hope that you found this webinar something that was helpful for you. We still have some questions in the chat that we'll answer, and we'll also ask you if you have a question now to press *6 on your phone if you're on the phone, or click the little microphone icon that's in the lower left-hand portion of your screen, and tell us your name and what your question is. I'll just sum up a couple of questions that we have, or a couple of points and thoughts that people have in the chat about taking notes, and people asking, oh, is it okay to do it this way or okay to do it that way? Here's the bottom line. As long as we get the copy that we need and we get the form submitted online, you can do it however you like. We're just giving some best practices and tips on how you want to do it. But if you want to write it 2 times on different pieces of paper and go back and jog your memory, or just type it straight in online, that's fine. But if you do type them on the line right into the meeting minutes form, just know that we do need a physical hard copy as well. Does that make sense? Anything that you guys wanted to add to that, Adeline or Brett?
No.
Sounds good.
The one thing I'll just speak to, I know that Sally and Mike here are mentioning, reiterating the importance of building in extra time for the Metro, given that it is unreliable at times, especially in heavy usage during the summer. We don't actually have a meeting location that we're going to be kind of gathering at the Union. We're going to be, as soon as you exit, like Adeline said, we're going to be walking over to the actual kind of steps of the Capitol. I don't know if we wanted to put that map up one more time. That might be hard to go all the way back to that, but we're going to be walking directly over there.
Right. It's the east side of the Capitol, closer to Library of Congress. Yeah, so if you're taking an Uber or Lyft or anything, you're going to want to meet us in the east side of the Capitol, and you'll see the giant crowd of people. So. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to miss. It's exciting. It's the most important. Craig adds, just to add on to what you said, Adeline, you would take the Metro from the Omni to Capitol Hill. You would take the Metro line, red line, towards Glenmont to get to Union Station. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Craig.
Yeah.
And Abaya has a great other pro tip. If you are cell phone literate, you should create a group for each of your LAMI teams. And that way you can enter in all the cell phones, and they can be separate, and you can even name the group if you know how to do that on your phone. But either way, that way you can communicate quickly. You don't have to juggle 17 different numbers, and you've got a specific kind of group text going out for any updates. You can even use other apps like GroupMe if you want, but I think that great group suggestion on your cell phone is another pro tip to communicate more effectively. Thanks, Abaya.
Absolutely. And Luis, I think it's Lewis, asks, where do you get the meeting minutes form? Again, the meeting minutes forms will be in your conference package. So when you register, they'll give you a program and a packet, and they'll have like all the training materials you're going to need, your meeting minutes forms, all that stuff. Now your biographies and your schedules and all that kind of stuff that's already been sent to you, that you'll need to bring those on your own. But the meeting minutes form and the things and the asks and the things that you'll need for the conference will be in there. Mike W. asks, what's the dress code? Adeline, you want to talk about the dress code?
Sure. So for the conference itself, I wear business casual. I think technically you can wear whatever you want, but most people are wearing business casual. But for lobby day, it is a business professional attire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
One thing also I'll put out that's tangential to Lobby Day, but is coming up tomorrow, so we shouldn't forget about it, is Congressional Call-In Day. So if you haven't heard anything yet about this, I'm guessing everyone has, and if you have, make sure to share with everyone else you can. But to really build our political will and that kind of tailwind to swoop into the conference or the actual lobby meetings on Tuesday with, make sure to get everyone you know to call in to your offices, both senators and representative, tomorrow, and go through whatever script you'd like, calling on action for climate change and the solutions of carbon fee and dividend.
Great point, Rep. Any other questions? We still have about, we've got 11 minutes or so left, so we've got plenty of time for questions. *6 on your phone, or click the little microphone icon next to your name. Yep.
This is George Kralovic in Annandale, Virginia.
Hey, George.
Howdy, George.
Hey, hi. I'm sorry I dialed in late here. I was away and unable to get home sooner. I wondered if you had covered at the beginning of the call anything about our letter exchange table.
You know it, George. Yep, we spent a whole minute and a half on it.
Outstanding.
We did.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, George. Thanks for checking in. Just again, a reminder, because I think it's a good idea to talk about, since this is something new. We've had all kinds of organizing efforts, especially throughout April and May, all across the country. And I've been at tabling events where I'm getting letters from people from New York and California now, and in the state of Texas. And so the constituent letter exchange table that George is referring to, and that Brett touched on, is an opportunity for you to drop off the letters that you might have collected for other members of Congress that you might still be holding on to. And we'll make sure that the meeting leads for those meetings get those letters. So, yeah, great.
Check out those file folders. And George, special thanks to George for being one of the main initiators of this new tradition.
Well, we didn't intend to, but when we got over 3,300 letters generated at the Metro Outreach, we said, oh my God, how are we going to deliver these? So they're all waiting for people to pick them up that are meeting leads. So the key point is that if you're bringing letters to be delivered by to other meetings than you'll be attending, then you need to deposit them on Sunday at the letter exchange table, and there'll be people there to help. And then the meeting leads on Monday need to go by and see if they have letters for their meeting. In some cases, they may have a big stack, and in others, they may have none or one or two. And it'd be up to them as to whether it's worth delivering one or two, or whether that would maybe have a negative effect on the meeting to just have that number.
Great, thanks,
Perfect.
George.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, and I would tend to err on the side that any message to Congress is important. I would, but yeah, you're right. It's really up to the lead, and they can decide whether they want to deliver that or not. Abaya has a suggestion, but Abaya, I want you to tell everyone. You typed it in the chat, but why don't you open up your phone line here and tell everyone what your suggestion is as far as dealing with all the walking. Oh, Abaya, don't be shy now. Okay. Abaya recommends that, there's a lot of walking that you can, if you choose to bring dress shoes and comfortable shoes, I guess maybe some tennis shoes or something like that. And you can, switch those out. I guess that would be for people with purses, because I don't think I'd be carrying a pair of shoes with me in my bag, but you never know. So yes, that's a good idea. That's a sort of a pro tip and a way to deal with. And it's also what's the weather forecast, Brett, Adeline? It's supposed to be like 94 on lobby day. Is that right?
Last I checked, it was 97. So
yeah, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot.
Bring your wolves.
Yeah. It's always hot and it's always steamy in DC. Seems like every year when we go. So be prepared for that as well.
This is George again. Am I still on hot mic?
Yep.
Hello. Yeah. Have you covered the major construction that's going on in the Cannon building and the obstacles that sets up and how to get around them?
No, we haven't really talked about how to get around them. But no, we don't, because it could change. Those things can change from like day to day. So what we say today may not be the same.
Well, no, they're not changing. They're
Maybe if you'll just let everyone know, George, there's obviously some construction going on in Cannon.
Well, it's a 5-year project, and this entire year, the entire western side of the Cannon building is under renovation. So all those offices are vacant and blocked off, and you can't get access on any floor to the Cannon building there. The south tunnel along C Street is also closed. This is for the duration through November.
Oh, okay.
So this is not changing daily.
Okay.
So to get between the Cannon building and the Longworth building without going outside and having to go through, number one, the standing in line in the heat, and number two, the delay to go back through security, you have one tunnel instead of two, and that tunnel's at the north side along Independence Avenue between the Longworth building and the Cannon building. So all of the offices and all of the access through the west side of the building is totally blocked off. If you have a meeting at the southwest corner of the building on any floor and you have another meeting at the northwest corner, you have to go all the way around to the east. You can't go through the western corridors, north-south corridors along the western side of the building. It'll save people a lot of time if they know that ahead of time. Otherwise, you'll waste a lot of time going down blind alleys. You don't find out they're blind alleys until you get to the blockage.
Okay.
Great.
So I think what we probably need to do, I appreciate that information. Probably, Adeline, I know that you and Taylor are doing a session Sunday night to talk about logistics. I think it might be beneficial to add that information as and maybe speak to Danny and Stephanie.
Yeah.
Maybe to George as well. Maybe have a visual on the screen because I'm a visual learner, George. And when you start throwing out directions, I totally lose you. But if you had a map, if you could show me that map, I would totally get what you're saying. So maybe that would help us all out. I appreciate the information. And George, Adeline, you know how to get in touch with George, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
On that note, I know that Monica is just saying a great question here as well, which is asking that is there going to be a map, speaking of visual learners, and I know that every year we typically put a big map of all of kind of Capitol Hill on the backside of the program so that you can sketch it out, you can look it up ahead of time, but you have it with you and you don't even need a cell phone to take care of that.
Yeah, I'm just like you, Monica. Somebody can say things to me, it goes right through one ear and out the other, but I have to see it. That's great. I appreciate that. And George, thanks for your information, and we'll work with Adeline, and maybe we'll get a slide up Sunday night so we can show people.
Yeah, great call.
Oh,
I know
there's very clear diagrams of all of this put out by the architect of the Capitol. If you just Google architect of the Capitol Cannon building renovation, you'll find some very, very clear explanations and diagrams.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. You probably saved a lot of people a lot of time.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I learned the lesson the hard way, and I've been beating this drum for a while here, and so I was a little disappointed to hear that it didn't get out on the logistics meeting. So it's really, really confusing if you don't know about it ahead of time.
Well, we'll get it. We'll make sure we get it out Sunday night at the conference to the larger audience there. So appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Still got about 3 minutes or so left. Any other questions?
Mike Madison asked, I'm going to give this one to Ricky and Brett. Since it'll be in the 90s, do you all have advice on jacket with shirt and tie or no jacket? Don't want to be over or underdressed?
Yeah, I would suggest, Mike, that you're just going to have to grin and bear it. But we do ask everyone to wear at least a dress shirt and a jacket. A tie may be optional, but I think you're going to find that probably 95% of the folks that you'll be lobbying with will be in professional dress, and all the people you'll be meeting with are as well. So I would say, grin and bear it. It sucks. It's hot. But you get to spend some time down below in the cafeterias and stuff where it's nice and cool. So
yeah, it's cool. It's cool in the building, so you cannot wear it outside and then use it to cover the sweat when you're inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, any tips on that? Oh, I know.
No.
I'll put a tip out there because one of our volunteers is his ad agency promotes gold bond powder. So maybe that's a good thing. You can spray that all over your body and it helps prevent swimming. It's the Shaquille O'Neal stuff. Yeah. Sam says, please put the map link and info for this webinar. And I think, Sam, were you referring to the Architect of the Capitol map link?
This is George. It's the Architect of the Capitol, and I've got it up right now here. If you've got an email address for Adeline, I can send it to you. It's not hard to find in Google, but I've got the diagram right here of the Cannon Building and exactly where everything is blocked.
Yeah, sure. It's Adeline at citizensclimate.org. That's
okay, good.
Adeline. Thank you.
Quick question about back rolling bags are allowed through security, size, stuff you can put in or not, heavy cameras not?
Good question. It's my experience. Let me think, because you can take laptops, you can take bags in. They're just going to have to be searched. I'm not sure if you can take rolling like luggage type bags. Good question. Look at somebody throwing something out there that we have no idea.
No. Try it out.
If you go to visitthecapitol.gov, all one word, you can see what's prohibited right there. It's just visitthecapitol.gov.
Perfect. There you go, Brett.
All right. Someone asked when we do the online submission of reports, do we do it on our smartphones or what? So I would suggest it's probably going to be a lot easier to submit the field report on a laptop or a computer.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tower Wind, I can tell you right now that the current version of Community and those forms that we use aren't very responsive or mobile friendly. They will be in a newer version that's coming out soon. But and plus it's a lot of information to type in. And so it's just not that, the phones just aren't that great for typing in tons of information. Abaya also mentions that there are lockers in Union Station. So lockers are available there. All right, so it is the top of the hour. We're going to bring everything to a close tonight. Again, this lesson has been recorded, and we'll have it available online. It'll probably sometime next couple of days. You'll probably, honestly, they'll get most of the information Sunday night in DC if you're there and more. And, I would say as well to, your regional coordinators are going to be there, your group leaders if you're new. Spend a lot of time just talking to people, asking questions. Attend all the skills workshops that you can. I mean, there's some fantastic sessions that are happening. Don't try to be an expert on everything, and don't worry about what you don't know. Try to take in as much as you possibly can, and just get there, be excited, be present, participate. That's the most important thing. It's not necessarily saying the right thing at the right time in the right meeting. But more so developing that relationship and being that resource for people and showing them that, citizens like us, we do care about this issue and we do want Congress to work together to do something on it. And that's the most important thing. So if you can walk away feeling like you've accomplished that, you'll have had a very successful time in DC and lobbying. So thank you, everyone. Adeline, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We look forward to having you on more of these.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, as we continue the blondes here, you like it. All right, Brett, have a great evening. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you.
Thank you, everyone.
In a few days.
See you in DC.
Wait to see everyone in DC. Thank you.